Hey, good morning, everybody. And yes, it's our day today. It's Women's Day. But then, you know what? It always kind of gets me all, why the hell do we take one day to wish ourselves? Why not every day? Why not every moment? And what better moment than this moment for me? For me, this is the most special moment. And here is to all these sweet, sexy babes out there looking at this video today. Because you know what? Today is our day. And just like as my Facebook post went in today morning, and I want to take a minute to say that, I said, you don't have to be anything to enjoy the day today. You could be a couch potato. You could be a bike hiker. You could be, for all you care, for all you care, a nobody. Because what matters, that it's you. So it's your day today. And let's have some real exciting discussion here because it's about us. It's about these beautiful women out there. It's about every single individual person who today exists in this world. Because you know why? Without us, there wouldn't be a world. We created this thing. We created what we are today. We created every single human being out here. And that's why today is special. Because every day we be us. But today we be the world. So with that, let me take you today to a very special session. And man, am I excited about it. Because today, this very day, and I don't think I remember the date right now. I'm a little preoccupied. But the fact that today, with me, the guest sitting with me, is the first female in this show. So we're going to host brilliant other females. We're going to go global. We're going to have thousands and millions of beautiful ladies talk about their journey, talk about their beautiful ways of how they've come out like alphas across the world. But this alpha woman sitting in front of me, the alpha female as I call it, is my first guest, is my special girl, Antara today.
Thank you.
Love you, baby.
Love you too. Thank you so much for that powerful introduction. Now I'm expecting that I have to say a lot of wonderful things about me, but I'm going to keep it very real. And I think you seem to be the kind of person who's going to appreciate a lot of honesty.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're going to have some fun today.
Absolutely. And if more than appreciating, if I don't get honesty, I'm going to dig into your soul and take it out.
I'm scared.
I've got these magic powers. You know? I could just go into your soul and just take out that small, tiny little thing. Which
with women, that is very, it's very uncanny. You can sense the power of a woman when you meet her. You don't need to talk. You don't even need to look in her eyes. And you are a very powerful woman. I can sense that. So I am a little scared, but go on, bring it up.
Oh, no. We are not going to be scared. We're going to make the audience super jealous today because we are in this, what do you say, self-praising club today.
Mutual admiration society.
Yes, we are going to mutually admire everything what we do. And we're going to do it shamelessly.
Okay.
We're going to do it shamelessly because, Antara, I'm going to tell you something. One thing which I've learned in my journey that was around the age group which you're in right now. I wouldn't mention the age though.
I have no problems, trust me.
Yeah, but around the same time is where I realized that it's important to be shameless.
Okay.
And there was a point of time in my life that almost for 6 months, I had a sticker on my dress which said, I'm shameless.
Really?
I literally put a sticker there.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? This is who I am. So be careful. When you're talking to me, be careful because I'm bloody shameless.
That's very interesting. I mean, we grow up in a society where you're taught how to sit, how to stand, not to show cleavage, lower your eyes when you're hanging out with people you don't know. Everything is so monitored. Everything is so guided, prescribed, that the idea that you would take that onus of discarding those identities, and shame is a very powerful tool of subjugation.
Absolutely.
I think it's very interesting. I don't think I've thought about it quite in the same way before, but it's part of nearly every female leader's journey is to somehow break out of these various constraints that we are put in, right?
Don't you think the first time, and tell me if I'm like seriously old fashioned, or maybe it's happened with your younger days as well. When the first time when you go play out and you fall and you come back home, and the brother or the guy in the house, the little kid, the little guy who falls in, doesn't get lines like, how could you go and fall like that? You're a girl, you should behave yourself. I went to this convent, and I love my convent because that whatever I am today is because of them. But I would run up on the corridors, and then the nuns would make me stand there and say, hey, behave like a lady. I'm like, that time I didn't think, but today just means so much more different.
I think I hear what you're saying. My experience has been quite different, but also weirdly similar, because I think this, while you are today, more and more young women are encouraged to be sporty, take up, activity, be physically powerful. There's certainly a lot more of these messages with so many powerful women out there coming our way. But at the same time, we expect our children and the girl child to be gentle, ladylike, sit a certain way.
Absolutely.
So I had, I think, a lot of both messages. I started sports very early, and thanks obviously to my mother, who really wanted that for me. And both me and my brother were brought up exactly the same way, down to the most silly things, like if I learned embroidery, he learned embroidery. If I learned taekwondo, he learned taekwondo. Which he has some very funny stories about, because we started off sort of equal, being 5 and 4 years old, same height, same pudgy fat, and then suddenly I shot up when we were like 11, and he has this hilarious story about one day he's like, I just see the heel of her foot coming down on me, and he's like scared shitless. But so I had a lot of sports, and I was encouraged to fall, I was encouraged to get hurt. We were actively getting hurt in taekwondo, you can't escape it. But to the extent that I think today when I teach personal safety, one of the messages I give the women and men in the room, because I believe in teaching it in a gender blind way, right? So that we can have a common dialogue on personal safety. But one of the things that I tell the women and men where there is a genuine difference is, women don't understand touch. We are not encouraged to be touched. We are not encouraged to touch. We don't play a lot of touch sports. Whereas for men, it's very natural to go, "Arey yaar, kaise ho?" types, Whereas for us, we'll be like, even if somebody brushes past us randomly, innocently in a corridor, we're suddenly like, "Mere ko chhu liya" types, So the onus on us of understanding touch is very important today.
Absolutely.
And like your experience, where you were rough and tumbling and learning to touch, and it's not touching each other, it's touching every surface and being comfortable in your own skin. Men are taught that very differently from childhood, and we have to now get to that stage, I think, where we encourage ourselves and the next generation to get there without these sort of, what's the right word? Contradictory messages that you can't do this if you do this, and you can't be this if you are that. So yeah, it's very interesting that you've had some of that experience and not the other bit. But I think you've obviously taken it to the next level as you've grown up.
I guess we all do. And with growing up for 5 decades, I think the next level had to come.
I'm looking forward to my next decade to catch up.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your childhood, like you were just telling about with your brother. So tell us a little bit of how those days plays a role in what you are today.
Okay, well, this is going back a long time.
Yes. How long? 10,000 years.
No. I'm going to be 40 this year. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not one of those people that believes in height.
40 is naughty. You need to be ready for it.
I think I'm ready for that. All right. So I grew up in Calcutta in a very normal middle class household, in an area called Kheru Place. I love Calcutta. Calcutta has that rawness of India that I think, and as such a mixed pot of cultures. For us, our pani puri from Gol Park is like as precious as our biryani, which we think is the best because it has aloo in it, but real lovely melting pot of cultures. I grew up in an environment of great love, great joy, great focus, great ambition. from obviously my mother's side, a very hardworking father who has a great love of life that he gifted us through his love of golf. And I grew up on the golf course. I grew up with sports. I grew up with friends who I never really saw as boys or girls, and that I think defines me even today, that my friends don't have a gender. My friends don't have an identity other than the energy that we sort of feed off each other. So when you have a friend who, behaves in a typically male or female way, you get a little surprised. You're like, yaar tu, kar kya raha hai, or if the girl starts like saying something very like, ostensibly girly, you're like, dude, this won't work in our dynamic. So been very privileged to have such a mixed bag of experiences. So very quickly grew up in Calcutta, went to convent school to start off, Loreto Dhantala, one of the best schools ever. Then went into La Martiniere for girls, which is a high-end private school in Calcutta. And I did that, I think my parents decided that for me predominantly because I was a swimmer and they had a great swimming team. So I was a taekwondo, martial artist, I was a swimmer, I played basketball, tennis, table tennis, rugby, football, probably everything except, and this is a secret, well, it's not a secret anymore. I can't cycle.
No, it's going to be a secret.
It's the one thing I never learned.
You can rest assured it's going to be a secret.
Well, it's a very bad secret. I like my jokes. My sense of humor is also terrible. But I can't cycle.
No.
The one thing I never learned to do. Can't cycle and I can't drive.
Me too.
Yeah?
Me too. Tried a couple of times, fell on my face and not needed. I could have 100 more reasons to fall, but not this.
No, I actually never learned it because we grew up in a part of Calcutta where traffic was so, bad, and we never really had the time. I went from one class to another. My entire day was very regimented, and it was all about physical activity and doing. So I think that's the other thing that possibly has flown through my adulthood and my journey is I need to do. I can't talk and yak for too long about I'm a problem solver. I need to go fix it.
Wow.
I can't sit on my ass and
Babes,
talk.
we need to be careful because all the words which you're using about yourself,
yeah,
I think our dear friend here, the executive producer here, would definitely know that it's been used here. So,
so it might be like feeding off each other. All right. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then I went off to Ireland. So after I graduated.
Before we go there, I'm going to just stop you there for a second. Sure. If you hadn't had your parents' support and their trust and the belief that you are made of so much energy and so much power, and they gave you the freedom to go do that, right?
Right.
Various things. If you didn't have that, do you think you would have still found your way around all these activities and things?
So that's a bit of a double-edged sword because I'll be very honest. It wasn't my parents encouraging me so much as telling me this had to be done, because obviously they knew from an early age what it required to survive and thrive in the world. So they had a clear vision of how they wanted to bring me up. It wasn't me so much exploring these activities. There are certain activities that I explored at a young age on my own, which they did encourage me for, like painting and dancing, where I have thrived. But if you ask me, without my parents' support or encouragement, would I have done as much? Definitely not. Would I have done something? Definitely yes. Because as far back as I can remember, there was that fire, that fire to do something in me. They gave it direction, they fed it, they gave me so many opportunities. But that fire was definitely there, and I genuinely believe, because I've worked and I've hung around so many little kids, I think every child has fire. Some of it is different, some of it is like the depth of the ocean fire, some of it is like the sun, but every child has something about them that if they are then exposed to, they will thrive in. And it's not my journey is the right journey. I'm very clear about that. In fact, I have very powerful female friends, and we have this conversation often. None of our journeys are the right journey for each other. If we see something about the other person that worries us or concerns us, we are free to give our input, but we don't define your journey and you don't define mine. And I think drawing those lines, even at a very even with your inner circles, very important, so that you control your life story.
Absolutely.
And therefore, when I go back to the very, very beginning, I know my life story. Everybody else had a role to play. But Antra is who Antra is because of Antra.
Yes.
First and foremost. And that goes the other way as well, right? You can't blame anyone else for your choices.
Absolutely.
You have to take ownership all the way. You could have done it right, you could have done it wrong, you may have a regret, you may have done it better than something else, or you may have really messed up. You may have failed terribly. You might have chosen a partner for yourself who was wrong. You may have decided to do a particular venture that failed. It was your choice.
Absolutely.
So you take ownership. Anybody else's voice was just a suggestion, So that's very important, I think, for all of us.
Absolutely. So before we take a short break, as always, to the audience, we kind of leave them with a message or a lesson or a learning. And I'll tell them what I took away from you.
Sure.
And that's very important for me, because I think the reason when we started this platform, this channel, I think it was a very selfish reason. It was about just not knowing my own story, but it's about knowing everyone's story. And I think that's something which I'm learning and taking this. So what I would like to pass on from your journey so far is that there's a spark, and there is fire, there is energy, there is sunshine in every single person. So to every girl sitting out there, and today, from this place to all and every single individual there's a spark, there's a sunshine within you. And I know there are these, people who play key role around you, who encourage you or pull you down, and they do that. That's the world, right? That's life, that's people, that's the universe that you live in. But then the sunshine which you are having, which you possess, go for it. Take your place. Own the space you are in. Stand up, raise your hands, get your voice heard. Do your own thing and stand up for it. Face it up and take it all. I think that's what I learned from you. Because very different to what you said about your childhood, my story, I did not do that. The moment when my parents would encourage me, I went out there and did everything what was needed. But the moment that my parents wanted me married, I succumbed to it, though I did not want it. So at the age of 17, I was married.
Wow.
And
okay.
I didn't want it.
That's very young.
And even till date, my education is just 10th standard. So, and now today I know that I had a choice. I had a choice. I could have put my foot down and I could have said, hey, I love you guys, but I would like to study further. I'd like to live, right? So that's my lesson from you, Antara. Thank you so much for passing that on. And I know it's just not for me, but many girls out there and many, many people who do that. Because I meet with young kids for engineering guys who say, I didn't want to be an engineer, but my parents wanted me, so I landed up in this university.
I know so many boys
exactly.
like that.
So it's not about being a female. It's about being you. As simple as that. And that was one small part of this beautiful journey by this alpha female. Stay tuned. We'll be back very soon to go into the next part. And I'm sure, without doubt, that it's going to be a lot of action in there. Life doesn't happen to you. You create it.
I want to work in creating impact, like being somebody who leaves a legacy. Till about 7 years ago, when I came back to India and found my calling, death, I'm always worried, not because I'm afraid of pain, but I won't do enough before I die. And that's how the idea for the Wow Kitty came, because we lend at 0% interest from that to rural female entrepreneurs. But the beauty of this microfinance model is it's women of privilege like you and me, using such little money, creating this legacy fund that's going to last beyond our lifetimes and impacting women, our sisters, in villages all over India, because whoever has the money has the power, right?
Absolutely.
We've funded over 4,000 or 5,000 women. We do not need capitalism if we can have responsible, responsible business models like this.
Best of offerings have been the accidental ones.
You just go out, get your hands dirty, and go out and make some magic, and we can all make the world a better place.